Good evening, everybody. It's John, 7 p.m., May 30th, 2024. Today I made a decision. As you could see in my last video where I actually had an interaction with the police trying to get Penal Code 13550, my custodial rights, enforced because my wife disappeared with my child for about a month, violating the custody visitation order. And the police was sitting there basically not being truthful with me. And I just want to share with you guys what they were talking about and what I was trying to get enforced. Because when they refused to take down this crime, and it is a crime in about all 50 states for the past 40 years, and they refused, they violated my civil rights. So we're going to explain to fathers what 135-.50 is in the penal law of New York. Okay? So let's go over this video. This is going to be a preliminary, again, to tell you what crimes that we're going to report, and we're actually going to live stream NYPD and their response to these crimes in which I have clear evidence. And to any law firms out there, I need people to come in and say, live stream it this day, we'll be ready, we'll be set up. I want to make arrangements so I can get the maximum audience to this live stream. So I want people to actually put in suggestions of when we can have the live stream. This includes everybody, even the police department, if they want to watch their own live stream of their officers in action. Plus any law firm that's interested in this can also watch it, and we'll make arrangements if you feel that this is worth your time and effort. Because to really tell you the truth, this has been done in New York City so much, I think it's worthy of a civil class action suit against the city of New York and the NYPD for refusing to abide by people's civil rights, to protect their rights. They actually violated my civil rights. So I'm going to live stream it when they do it. And I'm going to report 3 crimes that we know of. This will be the first one. Custodial interference. Okay, let's go about this and let's take a look at what actually 13550 is. I'll stop it. This is for educational purposes. This is from the law firm DeMarco and DeMarco. All right, the law center. Let's see what they say about 13550. I had a valid custody visitation order. She violated it. Now let's see what they were supposed to do and refused to do.
Please pause and read this carefully. This is information, not legal advice. Every case is different. When a co-parent withholds custody with malintent, the typical response is to call the police and report the violation of the custody order. Unfortunately, the police typically say, "Sorry, we can't help. This is a civil matter." And
it's not just a civil matter because it's penal code. Penal, that word is synonymous with criminal.
then the only option was the slow, expensive, and often ineffective petition for contempt through the courts. But there's an alternative. The Interference with Child Custody Coalition encourages you to pursue this as the crime that it is.
Pursue this, the crime as it is. All 50 states.
When reporting a crime as a victim, a police officer should come to the scene of the crime and take an offense report. There's an investigation and then prosecution by the district attorney. You don't need a private attorney.
You don't need a private attorney. You can pursue both criminal charges for the custodial interference. Criminal charges. You understand? Criminal charges. The police are going to keep telling you it's a civil matter. It's a civil matter. No. Now you're going to find out something very interesting about 13550.
You can pursue both criminal charges for custodial interference and a civil claim for contempt simultaneously.
You could do a civil complaint and you can report the crime simultaneously. That's not what the police are saying. If you go to in the back video, they're absolutely refusing to abide, and they knowingly violated my civil rights. And I'm going to tell them that in the next video, and I'm going to live stream that video.
Custodial interference is a crime in every state.
It's a crime in every state. So all 50 states, if you're a dad and your wife or estranged wife decides, well, screw you, you're not seeing your kid for a month because of any reason, even if you missed a child support payment, she cannot do that. She's still guilty of a crime.
And has been for over 40 years. When you are faced with...
So now it's been a crime for 40 years. You watch when I report this crime on the live stream, all of a sudden these police officers' IQ is going to go down 30 points and they're going to keep saying, it's a civil matter, it's a civil matter. If you go back to the last video, they're just going to parrot the same thing, and when they're parroting that, they're violating your civil rights as an individual human being. You're allowed to report a crime that's been committed against you. And if they ignore it, they violated your civil rights.
With egregious, deliberate, and repeated violations of your legitimate custody order, we recommend you take these steps to enforce it. First, look up your state penal code for custody interference.
Okay, let's do that. Penal Code, New York. Custody interference in the first degree. Custodial interference in the first degree, 13550. Custodial interference in the first degree. A person is guilty of custodial interference in the first degree when he commits the crime of custody in the second degree. So she's got it in the first degree because she left the state with my child without my permission. That's it. And I had custody visitation rights. That's it. It's a crime. So again, when I live stream this, I want everybody, in the comment fields of this video, when would you think it would be the best time so I can get the maximum audience? Again, any law firm out there who watches the live stream and wants to handle this case for me, since they violated my civil rights, it's probably going to have a big price tag to settle this. And believe me, I want somebody punished for violating my civil rights. I'm not a dog in the street. I'm a father concerned about the well-being of his child. And I found out some pretty grimy stuff about my wife and what their family has done to children in the past. And there's other crimes they've been involved in, which I have clear evidence as well. All three of these crimes will be reported in the live stream. As long as I know when people are aware there is going to be a live stream and what's actually going to be in the live stream. This will be the first charge, the first crime against me I'm going to try to report. And you're going to watch the NYPD try to lie their ass off in front of the whole world.
If your state law describes the situation, it's a crime. Write it down and be prepared.
See? It's a crime. Okay? Penal law. Penal law is criminal law. Again, penal is synonymous with criminal law. It doesn't say civil up there, does it? Actually, you could do both by going by this video. You can pursue it in civilly or criminally or both at the same time. That's your right. And don't let anybody else tell you that they're not reporting the crime, because they're violating your civil rights and they're treating you less than human, fathers.
Prepared to cite the statute to the police officer when you report it. Next, identify
what I did when I actually had the penal law on a piece of paper and I handed it to them, and still they would not take down the crime. They violated my civil rights once on film. We're going to catch them doing it again.
Law enforcement agency has jurisdiction over your exchange point. Call 911 from the location and report the violation saying, "I'd like to report a crime. Please send an officer." Don't accept a report over the phone. Next, follow your court order to the letter. Don't modify it. If the court order states to meet at the McDonald's at 6 p.m., be sure you're there. Consider an officer courtesy
My custodial visitation was supervised because my wife was accusing me of doing crimes which never existed. She said I was abusive. I was like, well, then where's the domestic violence reports? Where is the proof? The problem over here in New York City is because I was a legal gun owner, and they used this as an opportunity to again violate my civil rights by seizing my weapon when there was no crime involved. So that's going to be one of the other charges that I want a lawyer to pick up. This is a multi-million-dollar case right here that I have.
stand by if you foresee a denial or problem. Fourth, have your court order with you. A certified paper copy is best. Have a copy of the penal code too. Video record when possible, and ideally have a witness. Fifth,
That's what I did in the first video. Okay? We're going to do it again, but we're live streaming it now. So again, I'm going to insist on people in the comment field of this video. Please put the best time you think for me to actually show people what's going on in New York City. This needs to be exposed. I am not the only father that's going through this. There's tens of thousands of us. And these woke-ass activist judges who think you can't have a gun because, I feel threatened that the peasants have a gun, when I'm the authority and only I should have a gun to protect myself because I'm more important than you. That's what we got. And I caught these activist judges actually drilling my wife so they can come and take my gun away and violate my my rights. They actively take part, these judges in New York, in violating your rights. And I think it's fucking time everybody stood up to them. Because what's going to end up happening, these people are going to end up having your kid thrown in jail because they're fatherless. Read the stats. All of our jails are filled up with kids that didn't have a father.
cite the law if law enforcement states it's a civil matter. Politely ask questions about when the law is enforced and what makes this situation different. Stick to the facts when reporting the crime and leave blame, drama, and emotions out of the conversation. Sixth, request that the officer's body cam be turned on to record your reporting. Request the officer's name, badge number, and supervising officer. A word of caution. It's very likely that you'll leave the scene without your child, so remain calm and be respectful if the officer refuses to treat the incident as a crime. Seventh, if the officer refuses, request a report number. Understand that very often law enforcement deems these issues as civil and they're unaware the penal code even exists on this.
You see? They're unaware the penal code even exists on this issue. So if they're unaware that it exists on this issue, that's why you give them a copy. I have given them a copy, and they still wouldn't do their job.
Issue. Be sure to receive some form of documentation and ask for a supervisor to elevate the reporting process, during which you will again obtain names and badge numbers. And last, if the supervisor refuses, submit an open records request for the department policy and procedures. Then submit an internal affairs complaint if the standard policy wasn't followed. As a general matter, following these steps in most jurisdictions will give you the best chance of enforcing your valid custody order. However, every police...
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow all the steps you see laid out there. And then first I'm going to do the video where I actually explain this to them, and you're going to see what NYPD does. You cannot send officers that are supposed to enforce the law who don't know anything about the law. I shouldn't have to be training these babies with guns.
Department, municipality, and personal situation can be different. The police, as a key arm of law enforcement, are an extremely powerful organization, so there can be.
I had one police officer come up here. He looked all about maybe 20-something years old, telling me, "We cannot enforce the law. You don't have custody, visitation. You don't have..." Could barely speak English. I don't know. His name was Officer Chen. I could barely understand him. Meanwhile, he wouldn't shut his mouth because I do have the custody visitation order. And he just refused to look at it. So they're openly violating my civil rights. And again, I'm going to do this again on a live stream. And any firm out there that's watching the live stream, tell them all about it, people. Get them to watch it. And I'll sit there and make a deal for these guys to enforce my civil rights. Because NYPD violated once, and for them violating it, it's caused my daughter deep emotional distress. Because, to tell you the truth, my daughter's now in the hands of a lunatic. She hasn't sent my daughter to school for 52 days.
Be unforeseen consequences if you take too antagonistic approach with powerful people. You are always cautioned to think, evaluate, and consider all manners of approaching the police, including meeting with officers that you know within the force, or meeting with the police captain ahead of time to discuss the policy on enforcing custody orders and any other option your particular circumstance might warrant. Remember, it's very dangerous for the police to handle custody calls, as domestic violence and safety is always a concern. So, advance warning of your intentions could take the threat of danger out of the equation and remove it as an excuse for the police not to enforce your rights. Please remember, the whole point is for you to gain access to your child, not weaponize law enforcement to penalize your ex.
See what the police are supposed to do? They're supposed to enforce your right to see your child. Enforcement. Now, it's a clear violation of my custodial rights to my child. See? He's telling you right there.
The other alternative you can also pursue simultaneously is legislative advocacy. The Interference with Child Custody Coalition recommends you also contact your legislators to pursue enforcing or changing the laws, but that's a topic for another video. Written by the Interference with Child Custody Coalition and produced by the Law Center, the creator of the Family Court Custody Boot Camp. Click the link in the description portion of this video to learn more about them.
Okay, so now we learned about 13550. I have a copy of my custody visitation orders. I also have proof it was clearly violated. I also filmed them previously on the last video that's got like over 2,300 views of them actually violating the law by telling me, oh, it's a civil matter. And I'm telling them, no, it's not. I explained everything just as this lawyer taught me, that 13550 is both, it's penal, that's synonymous with criminal, and I can pursue it as civil or penal, which is criminal code, or I could do both at the same time. Police officers, if you're not trained in this and your supervisor comes up and still wrong, doesn't mean that you guys are off the hook. Now again, I want everybody who's interested in watching this in about 30 days, wants to watch this me live streaming this, I want to comment when's the best time for it to be live streamed. Plus, any law firms that want to watch the live stream, you're totally invited to. And if you think that you can pursue this case to help me and my daughter out, I'll be more than happy to talk to you on a one-to-one basis. And on that, I'm out of here.